Good morning, Tenzin Lamala.
Good morning. Hi, everybody.
Good morning. So anybody who doesn't know Linda, who just greeted Venerable Tenzin Lamo, she is our assistant SPC, and beginning next week, she will be hosting Sunday morning teachings. So she'll be taking questions and so on. I'll still be here, but Linda's taking on that role starting next week. So welcome, Linda. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Oh.
Morning, Millie. Rainy, hi. Peter, hello.
Geshe Gellick is here.
Yeah, please begin with the prayer.
Let's start with Shakyamuni Buddha's mantra. Te ata mune mune maha munai soha. Te ata mune mune maha munai soha. Te ata mune mune maha munai soha. Now the Medicine Buddha burst of praise and mantra. Bhagawan, with equal compassion for all, whose name, when merely heard, dispels the suffering of the lower realms. Dispeller of disease and the three poisons, I prostrate to Medicine Buddha, lapis light. Te ata bekanze bekanze maha bekanze bekanze raja samugate soha. Te ata bekanze bekanze maha bekanze bekanze raja samugate soha. Te ata bekanze bekanze maha bekanze bekanze raja samugata soha. Te ata bekanze bekanze maha bekanze bekanze raja samugata soha. Jayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samugate Soha. Jayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samugate Soha. Jayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samugate Soha. Now the four measurables. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings be inseparable from the happiness that is free from suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment for friends or hatred for enemies. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings be inseparable from the happiness that is free from suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment for friends or hatred for enemies. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings be inseparable from the happiness that is free from suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment for friends or hatred for enemies. Now the verse of praise and mantra for Chenrezig, the Buddha of great compassion. Not veiled by any fault, white in color, whose head a perfect Buddha crowns in light, gazing compassionately at all beings. To you, Chenrezig, all-seeing one, I prostrate. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Now the verse of praise and mantra for green Tara. Tare liberates from cyclic existence. Tutare liberates from the 8 fears. Ture liberates from all sickness. I prostrate to the liberator, Mother Tara. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. 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 Om Tare Tu Re Soha.
Now setting up the positive motivation for the class. That's why we are chanting, we are reciting Refuge Buddhist prayer set a positive motivation for the class. Okay. Sanje chodang soji chonam la chanju pantong dane choso. Dage cheshe jebe sunam je andona penjo sanje roba sho. Sanje chodang soji chonam la chanju pantong dane choso. Dage cheshe jebe sunam je andona penjo sanje roba sho. Sanje chodang soje chonam la chanjo padon dane chanzon je dage chushe je rola penje sanje andoma sho hata ala me me na me aje omo da jaje la so chushe chonam chonam sanje sura ko bo je de bigo de da je tambe chunje chine de je namo la ye ga da no da ne je ga che bo da da me ga 탐제 깨도 다게 최대한 또 관계 도제 녀선에 또 탐제 밤에서 탐제 주는데 뭐 고담대로 차세 네 그런다 Good morning, Venerable Hamala. Good morning, Venerable Tenzin Lamo. Good morning, Venerable Chuki. Good morning, Venerable Kelsang. Good morning, Domasi. Good morning, Nico. Good morning, Chetan Alexander. Good morning, Kadamba Center. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Bob. Good morning, Meredith. Good morning, Cecilia. Good morning, Elise. Good morning, Renee. Good morning, Nili. Good morning, Peter. Good morning, Lee. Good morning, Panditji, Pati. Good morning, Laura. Long time no see. Good morning, David. Good morning, Arlene. Good morning, David. Good morning, Dr. Watkin. Good morning, Bodhisattva Patrick. Good morning, Govina. Good morning, Jessica. Good morning, Susie. Good morning, Fernanda, Marcelo, Patagonia. Good morning, Hen. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Helen. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Susan. Oh, sorry, the good morning, Venerable Kandola just appeared. Good morning, Sandy. Good morning, William. Good morning, Tara. Good morning, Javier. Good morning, Mary. Anybody watching on YouTube, good morning. Chukila, how are you feeling?
I'm okay, Geshe. Thank you.
Today you are feeling better? Little bit?
About the same. Thanks.
Yeah. Any questions, Tomasi?
Yes, Gisela, we still have a few questions that were asked last week. So I will read them. 2 weeks ago, you taught the first of 4 points of analytical meditation on emptiness. May I request that today or at any other time that is best, you teach the other 3 points?
Okay, very good. Wonderful question. The next one.
The second question is?
Because first questions require some time, so that's why I just asked to read second question. So.
The second question is still a request that you have started to speak about your childhood and your father. And would you like to tell us about your father? Tell us more about that. The third question is, am I the part of me that is reborn over and over again?
So can you repeat that?
Am I the self, the part of me that is reborn over and over again?
Okay.
And then there's one last question. If there is no right or wrong in emptiness, then when is it appropriate for a Buddhist to take a stand on issues like killing? 2/3 of Buddhist teachings have to do with the practice of ethics. So can we really trust our ego to provide us with accurate guidance?
Can you repeat that last one, please, one more time?
If there is no right or wrong in emptiness, then when is it appropriate for a Buddhist to take a stand on issues like killing? 2/3 of Buddhist teachings have to do with the practice of ethics. So can we really trust our ego to provide us with accurate guidance?
Mm. Sorry, I just wake up, so my mind is not clear. Just wake up. Um, so question before that.
The question before that is, am I, or is the
Oh,
self, the part of me that is reborn?
So before that, there's like 4-point analysis.
Also a request to talk about your childhood and your father.
Okay. So then the first one. So now here, like mere self, according to, like in Buddhism, there's like for the sake of knowledge. In Buddhism, there's like 4 different systems. Like the practice and the view, or you could say conduct. Among those 4 systems, the Madhyamika Pasankika system is considered as the best. The first 3 is like kind of like preparations, preparing you to understand the best view, refers to Pasankika view of ultimate truth. So first 3 system is kind of like maybe before the first 3 system, maybe you may have different ideas. So then those first 3 systems, studying them kind of prepare you to grow your knowledge about ultimate realities. Eventually, it leads to the Pasankika view of, like realities. So in that system, considered the best among those 4 systems. So according to that system, mere self, not some mere self, is the one that takes, the form life after life, mere self. So another question is like how you define mere self. Is that consciousness or is it body? So that, that requires like a philosophical analysis, analytical meditations. So to understand what is the mere self, to understand what is mere self, in order to have clear understanding of mere self, that you need to go through a 4-point analysis in order to have better understanding of mere self. Okay, so that is like answer that questions based on knowledge or based on teachings, not necessarily based on experience, but based on the teachings, taught by Buddha and all these great Narada masters, based on their teachings. And the mere self, the best system, is called Pasankika systems, Madhyamika Pasankika systems. Based on this systems, the mere self, that goes life after life. Not the body, not the So then talk about consciousness, then when it get to the Vajrayana teachings, then there's consciousness is much more profound. So that's probably ultimate. So new sims. Primordial, how is it? Primordial consciousness. How is it?
Primordial.
Huh?
Primordial.
Yeah, primordial consciousness. So there's English word called Nyung Sim, according to Tantra teaching called Nyung Sim. Shinto type very, I say, Shinto terms like extremely subtle energy and consciousness. That's the one according to Tantra teaching. That's the one that goes life after life, subtle consciousness. So then if you are familiar with the death dissolution process or meditations, then you have some ideas what the primordial consciousness is. Okay? So that answers that questions based on the knowledge, not based on experience, but based on knowledge. So then the second one, if there's no right or wrong, I say if there's no right or wrong,
Sorry, I guess I was muted. If there is no right or wrong in emptiness.
okay, but please pause there. So, so that question, I'm not sure. Like, first of all my friends here, including myself, emptiness does not mean nothingness. It means something very profound. It means something. It doesn't mean nothingness. If you think emptiness is nothingness, then that's nihilism. That's not good. That's one extreme view. So there you are still not free from two extreme view. That means you are not in the middle way. You are like falling in the one extreme view. Probably not the best one, the nihilism. So maybe from the emptiness, shunyata point of view, the right or wrong doesn't exist the way we perceive. You could say that. Technically, that's probably the correct way to say. From the shunyata point of view, the right or wrong doesn't exist the way we perceive till we realize shunyata. It's right or wrong is not like absolute, inherent. It's not like that. No, it all boils down to mere right, mere wrong. Like that. Right, wrong do exist, but doesn't exist exactly the way we perceive. I mean, they say like doesn't exist exactly where we perceive before we experience shunyata. Right or wrong do exist, but it doesn't exist exactly the way we perceive before we experience shunyata. That's probably technically correct way to say. So then, so I agree that Buddhist is so Buddha taught 84,000 scriptures. When you summarize that, it's summarized into three set of teachings. The way here they're translated in English called three basket, but it's actually three set of teachings. So main subject of these three set of teaching is like ethic, wisdom, samadhi, or concentrations. When you see that's for sake of knowledge, when you see the homage to omniscience that pretty much, not definitely, but pretty much indicate their teachings talk about ethics. That's how you define their teachings, according to called Due Dene means like teaching up monastic disciplines. That's how you do. You don't need to read whole books. Just reading a title, you can pretty much figure it out. Not definitely, pretty much figure it out. This teaching belongs to which set of teachings. This teaching belongs to set of teaching that talks about monastic disciplines or ethics. So then, homage to Manjushri, so that pretty much indicate the teachings talks about the wisdoms. Okay, so then homage to all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, so their teachings are going to talk about now concentration or samadhi. So the entire Buddha's scripture, 84,000 scriptures, for the sake of knowledge, for you to have a good understand, summarized into these three sets of teachings. The main subject of these three sets of teachings like morality, wisdom, concentrations. So of course, then morality is very much part of Buddha's teachings. So now here, the Buddha's teachings, the follower of the Buddhism's Theravada tradition and Mahayana traditions. Theravada tradition is very much focused on the Vinaya systems, where Buddha talks about ethics, mainly, primarily ethics. There's no permission whatsoever. There's no permissions for taking life. There's zero permissions. That's like totally against. Because why is against ethics? When you talk about ethics, that's like you talk about three draws: verbal, physical, mental. Unethical behavior that relates to the verbal, 4 of them, physical 3, mental 3, that becomes 10. So that's mainly ethics. So now in the Vajrayana tradition, there are some exceptions. It probably went beyond or went above experience-wise, meditative experience-wise, much deeper. Intellectual understanding is very much tremendously grow, like way beyond, like probably Vinaya systems, way beyond. So then there, so you see there's like a wrathful aspect of the deities that appears very wrathful looking, which very symbolize that how to utilize the energy that produced by anger, how to utilize that into your own benefit, directly your own benefit, indirectly benefit of all mother sentient beings. Theravada tradition, you cannot do, because that experience is not deep enough, knowledge is not broad enough. Theravada tradition, in Vajrayana traditions, that's why you see this wrathful looking deity. What that indicates there is a way to utilize anger of your energy for your own benefit and benefit of all mother sentient beings. Then you see the deity with the consort. What they indicate like where to utilize the energy of attachment to gain one's own benefit, the benefit of all our mother sentient beings, which refers to enlightenment or like Vajradhara state. So they're a little bit different. There's two same little bit different. So there are certain bugs, certain bugs that grow in the tree, that grow from the tree. The very bugs that eat the tree, that eat the wood or tree or wood, whatever it is, wood. Very energy that grow out of attachment will cease the attachment. Very energy that grow out of the anger will cease the anger. See, so that doesn't happen in Theravada tradition. Doesn't happen before Vajrayana tradition. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in the Sutrayana path. It only happens in Vajrayana path. Has the attachment itself basically destroy attachment. Anger itself destroy anger. So that, Sutrayana path, that's almost impossible. So that's why the deity with the concert, wrathful looking deity, that all kind of indicates there's like way to utilize so receiving a pleasure, just looking at, like a concert, just looking at that. In Kriya Tantra, just looking at that, the amount of pleasures or like attachment that grows, just looking at Kriya Tantra, Charya Tantra, laughing, Yoga Tantra, touching, then highest Yoga Tantra, hugging, all of that, that very much driven by attachment, but that itself will destroy the attachment. Am I making any sense? Oh. Tatham means look, ge means laugh, lakchang means touch, chu means hug, tata ge da lakchang da. Tata ge da lakchang da, ge da tawe tibayi, nini chu da lakchang ji, simbi suji ju shi nes. That's how this four classic of Tantra is laid down precisely. Likewise, the bugs that grow out of wood, the very wood that kind of help that bugs to be alive. That very bugs, that very log that helps the bugs to be alive, that bugs will finish that wood, basically eating that. Similarly, looking, pleasure, attachment, looking, laughing, touching, hugging, that attachment will destroy that attachment, the very attachment that produce those things will destroy that attachment. Make sense? Am I making any sense? Huh? Maybe not.
Yes, sir. This is Nico. Question. So when we're talking about attachment neutralizes attachment, that's Mahayana.
Nico, okay, Nico. Okay, yeah. Say it again, please. Say it again.
So the difference between Theravada and Mahayana is you've mentioned attachment neutralizes attachment.
Difference between like Sutrayana, Theravada, and Vajrayana.
Yeah.
Vajrayana. Of course, Vajrayana is part of Mahayana practice.
Right.
Within the Mahayana, there's called Sutrayana and Tantrayana or Vajrayana, same thing. Vajrayana, okay, in Vajrayana teachings. In the Vajrayana teachings, that attachment destroyed attachment, anger destroyed anger. Make sense?
Thank you. Yes.
So in Vajrayana teaching, okay, Nico, in Vajrayana teachings, Vajrayana teaching is part of Mahayana, but Mahayana, there's two, Sutrayana and Vajrayana. It only happened in Vajrayana teachings, okay? So I'm not sure why that, so in generally speaking, Buddhist teachings very much based on ethics, particularly, not particularly, all of them. Mahayana, Sutrayana, Theravada, Sutrayana, and like Mahayana, Vajrayana, all embrace ethics. But something that sounds unethical in Vajrayana teaching is not really unethical. It's very much part of ethics, but a different approach. Okay, so then the last part, I think, like if in emptiness, if there's not right or wrong, so that's finished now. Second part, and that's also finished.
So the second part of the question, when is it appropriate for a Buddhist to take a stand on issues like killing? And can we really trust our ego to provide us with accurate?
The last one, there's like, like Buddhist teaching 100% stand on against killing. There's no, like, killing is not advisable, And I said exception there in my Vajrayana teaching, there's some exceptions. To one's own gain to one's own benefit and benefit of other living beings. It's not like a mundane gain. There's nothing to material gain. There's like totally welfare of yourself and welfare of all the other sentient beings. Okay. So now ego. So now here is so now what do you say? Can we trust ego? Then people say something. Can you trust ego? If you refer ego to sense of self, you say I. I think you have to faith. You have to have faith in yourself. Otherwise, nothing will happen. So now what do you say? Can you trust your ego? What do you say?
Geshe-la, Don has his hand up. Maybe he would want to address.
Dr. Brown, yeah, please, Dr. Brown, say something, yeah. Dr. Brown, you are teaching without word, cannot hear. Are you self-realizer? Self-realizer, they teach without word. Dr. Brown? Dr. Brown? Yeah, we cannot hear, so maybe you have to show physically what you're saying. Can hear. Teaching without a word. Dr. Brown, you said so many things, we couldn't hear a word. Say, okay, take your time, but we want to hear, but we cannot hear. What do you call? There's like some kind of play that you imitate. What do you call?
Oh, charades, maybe?
Yeah, so some people say that you imitate, like try to figure out the word.
Pantomime.
Yeah, whatever that is. So in Tibetan, called teaching without word. I think Dr. Brown is continuously teaching without words, so I'm not sure how many us we have karma to hear.
Hold down the space bar while you're talking, and it should unmute you.
Michael ran into this in morning meditation. He had to restart his computer.
Oh. So we just need to go into Vajrayana teaching, just visualize. Heard everything Dr. Brown said. Yeah, while Dr. Brown is figuring out, anybody wants to say something? Maybe then when Dr. Brown appears, so I mean, robot appears, so then we can listen.
So Gessler, your question was, can we trust the ego, right?
Yeah, so anybody want to say something, can we trust the ego? Ego, like,
So Gessler, I got a text that said, when the questioner said there is not right or wrong in emptiness, maybe they were referring to transcending dualistic mind. Let me say that again. When the questioner said there is no right or wrong in emptiness, maybe they were referring to transcending dualistic mind.
because the dualistic mind, I understand that what is transcending.
Going above, going beyond.
Going beyond dualistic mind.
Yes.
So that means experiencing shunyata directly. Without that, without experiencing shunyata directly, it's impossible to go beyond dualistic view. Okay? In order to go beyond dualistic view, you need to experience shunyata directly. So that means you are talking about meditative equipoise. Meditative equipoise. You are, when you are in that state, you are free from dualistic view called Ninang. In Tibetan was called Ninang. Of course, there's gross, subtle, so when you reach the 10 bhumis, so you kind of seize this subtle dualistic view. So when you get enlightened, so then you are free from that subtle dualistic view.
So Geshe-la.
Oh, Dr. Brown, now finally our karma ripened. We don't have now karma to hear teaching without word. Okay, Dr. Brown, yeah, please say.
Well, what was the question, Geshe-la? What was the question? I want to be clear what I'm saying. Supposed to say anyway.
Can we trust ego?
Oh.
Or can we trust Dr. Brown's ego?
It's got me in a lot of trouble.
I
said my ego's gotten me in a lot of trouble.
So question is, Dr. Brown is like, can we trust?
I think there's the nominal I, which we all have, which is the valid one. And then this inflated sense of self that we cling to that creates all the negative karma and suffering. And it's very deceptive. I mean, it can tell us, oh yeah, this is a great idea. I'm doing this for all the right reasons. But it's our ego. And I remember, George Dreyfus came here, Venerable Sangye Sanduk. He was a professor at Williams College, really the first Larumpa Geshe from the West. Anyway, George came here one time and he said, we just have to be so careful because we have enormous potential for self-deception. When we think that we're doing something for the right reason, but unless we have realized emptiness, we're going to be motivated mostly by self-centeredness, by ego. And that's always going to lead to suffering. It's just it's, all the negative actions of body, speech, and mind are predicated on this misperception of self. I, me. So that's, I think, where that's coming from.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course, everything Dr. Brown says has to make sense.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm open to be I've been wrong a lot, Geshe-la.
No, no.
What do you think, Geshe-la?
But yeah, in this case, you are not wrong. So I know George Divers. I know because I met him many times in the monastery. He used to come to my teacher, to ask all kinds of questions. I know him quite well. So he doesn't seem like that he's very careful about ego when he was in the monastery.
Yeah, he was. I knew him when he was. I knew him when he was a monk, and I also knew him as a professor.
Yeah.
Different person, but
Yeah,
still,
just
yeah, interesting guy.
he has this mala. He's always like playing his mala. He's always goes like this. His kind always goes like this. He comes to my house many times. So because I live very close by my teacher, he comes there, and he's always like doing his mala. So I'm not sure now he still has mala or not. He's always going like this, like something like that's how he talks. Anyway, so yeah, he is like first Western Gishil Harampa. Actually, he's in like dialectic. He studied in dialectic school in Dharamsala, not in Sera or Devungade. But
Right. He
of
was
course,
a dialectic institute.
he has like he's Western, fast Western. That time he's not Gishi. He's becoming close to Gishi. He has a lot of privilege. He can just go to any teacher that he, because ask how he met many great teachers in my monastery, Sarah and Debun Gandhin. So my teacher is also very like scholar. So he also comes to him, asks about questions about, from the Abhidharma Kosha. And then particularly he's interested about like Buddhist, like the epistemology, how you say?
Epistemology.
Yes, to epistemology. Probably, I think he also wrote a book about that. He studied not just, he studied like different lineage, Nyingma, Kajut, Sakya, all about, whoever writes about this epistemologist. He probably wrote the book in English. Anyway, so.
Geshe-la Venerable Kondo has her hand up.
Well, yes.
Geshe-la, this is a very non-philosophical view on this question, which is one of the things, when these holy beings have realized emptiness directly and full enlightenment, one of the things that happens to us ignorant beings yet is that what may be of greatest benefit, what they do or don't do, may look wrong compared to our traditional ethics.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the wisdom to know.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
And then the other thing is, if we waited to do generosity, ethics, patience perfectly, we'd never get anywhere. So for me, it's part of renunciation, wanting to get out of samsara so I can whatever. But so we have to start, I start where I am with the best motivation I can have, knowing that even now my motivation can't be perfect. That's how I live with comfort in the fact that I don't have Shanada. I don't know if that helps at all, people, but that's a non-philosopher's view of this. Thank you.
Laura, what is your name of your grandson?
Gianni.
Oh, Gianni, hello, how are you? Good. Next time I'll bring my friend, okay? Today I forgot. I have one friend that talks. Maybe next time I'll bring. See now, like yeah, so ego doesn't like how it's how to say ego is very much looked down in Buddhist teachings. But one of the, I think, Kadama Master kind of praise, Jigsola Tawa Sanjay Duinos, kind of says like it's the central pillar of the enlightenment. So anyway, so now the problem here is like ego or self. I can't talk on your behalf. I'm just talking about on myself. I'm not talking about on your behalf. So see, myself, self is pretty much guided by my mind. This is not a true experience. This is also based on teachings. There's nothing to do with my experience. So self-guided precisely lead or guided by mind. Mind basically end up controlling self, not the self is the one end up controlling mind. Mind is end up controlling self. And that very mind, if that mind follows afflictions, so then all complications rise. If that mind follows loving kindness, compassion, all these positive things, so then self will be in much better positions. So therefore, why we do samadhi meditations, why we do shamatha meditation, samadhi meditation, why we're trying to be mindful, because self is ruled by mind is, generally speaking, ruled by, if the mind rules by afflictions, so then no matter how many times we say things, life will become more complicated. So if that mind, that's why we meditate, do samadhi meditation, shamatha meditations, and mindfulness very core part of samadhi, core part of shamatha. Both meditation require mindfulness. So that mindfulness allows you to make sure that your mind is not guided by afflictions. And you are trying very hard to that your mind to seeking the leader of that mind is something positive. So then self will be much better position, because self is not going anywhere. It's like your permanent roommate. There's no going anywhere. It'll be there. It'll be this life, in this life. It'll be next life. It's not going anywhere. Only thing that we can do is to make sure that, because self is ruled by our mind, to make sure that mind is guided by something positive, virtue. So therefore, samadhi is, even though samadhi is, every primary consciousness does have samadhi, but it's not strong enough. Every part of the primary consciousness comes with attentions, but it's not strong enough. It's not fully developed. Every primary mind comes with this as a 5 omnipresent mental factors. Among those, attention is there, samadhi is there, but it's not strong. We are not starting from zero. It's already something's there. So we just need to improve, to develop. Okay, so that's the very core reason why we do samadhi meditation, based on breathing, based on physical movement, based on walking, and shamatha you can do by walking. Samadhi you can do by walking, physical movement, shamatha, all of that, walking, physical movement become distractions. Samadhi, shamatha, that's like means single pointed meditation. Can just walk and physical movement. These all become distractions. Even like practice of generosity become distractions. Shamatha, it means single-pointed meditations. Both meditation, mindfulness is crucial part of that. Without that, we are not going to succeed in this samadhi meditation or shamatha meditation. So that's important to understand. Samadhi, you can do physical movement, walking meditations. Samadhi can be done, but shamatha requires single-pointed meditations. Okay, so why we do that? We want to make sure that we very mind that controls self. Make sure that mind guided by something virtue. That's why we do samadhi meditation or shamatha meditation. Okay, so that's my view. So now the question like, can you trust ego? So it's very much that if the ego is guided by bodhicitta, probably you can trust. That ego is guided by arrogance, pride, jealousy, anger, attachment. Then probably you need to think twice. Ego is much bigger, much broader. So if you're referring the ego to self, it will not go anywhere. It will be there. Okay. So anything else?
Gessler, there's a follow-up on this conversation right now.
Yeah. Just go now. Whoever asked this question of 4-point analysis, this is very, very important. This is very good questions, very important questions. So I think we touched a little bit on the first point analysis, So this is only for, if you ever wonder, what are true truth, conventional truth, ultimate truth, what's ultimate truth? So then you need to know this 4-point analysis. Why is it important? There's Lama Tsongkhapa, Lama Atisha, all this great master experience shunyata based on this 4-point analysis meditations. It's been tested, it's been taught. So that's why in order to experience shunyata directly or indirectly, 4-point analysis very much needed in meditations. In order to meditate, first you have to understand what are those 4-point analysis. First one, then Chukila kindly explained quite well, object of negations means trying to analyze the notion of self. Okay. So what's happening? So that's, I want to add a few things. What's happening here? What's happening in day-to-day life? What's happening in reality? What's happening? We have, generally speaking, there's like reality, one thing, reality. Appearance, how it appeared, appearance, how it appeared. Then believing in, how is it, believing in? Living in. Okay, so example here, these 3 things very important. Example, that analogy widely uses in Madhyamika Pasankika systems. So that's why this question kept last, because it requires some time to explain. So now think about the piece of rope, like color, not just rope, the colorful rope, colorful rope. In the place that you are not familiar, it's not your house, not familiar. Some place that you are not familiar, that place. And that there's not much light. It's kind of like early morning, could be dark, So then rope is like, there's like colorful rope, like probably like schooling, how's it schooling?
Coiled.
Coil. What's here now in this case, what is the reality? Reality is colorful rope, that's the reality. Colorful rope, that's the reality. That's the fact. That's the reality. How it appears to you? It appears to you as a snake. It appears to you as a snake. What is reality is a rope, colorful rope. It appears to you as a snake. Now there's cover two things. You believing in what it like, you believing in how it appears. It appears as a snake, you believe in. What happened next? Anxiety, fear, stress, physical, probably physical, related to the physical body, of course related to the mind. This means the ripple of things happens. Based on what? Reality. What is that? Colorful rope. Appearances. For you, it appears as a snake. Not just that. No, so just something that appears as a snake doesn't generate fear, anxiety, believing in. So then all kind of things. So now, how are you going to overcome from that fear and anxiety? You need to find out the fact, reality. What is the reality? Colorful rope. Minute you realize it's colorful, right? Colorful rope, appearance is snake, gone. Believing in snake is a snake, is gone. Fear, anxiety generated by that, gone. Similarly here, now talk about the self. Now talk about self. So now apply the same logic to the self when you do meditation. What's the reality? Self is the reality. How it appears? Or it appears as like a kind of like a good looking, like clean face. I'm not talking about my face. No, my face like no clean face. Not like nice, maybe mustache, white mustache, nice mustache. Good. Every is different appearances that appear. If you believe, oh, that's you, so then anything, anxiety, stress that's generated by that. So like, so now that's how the identifying object of negation is been explained like that. This is very important. Three things. Because eventually, what happens that you used to think everything, including self, you once used to think is a real. Now that kind of melted away, kind of like beginning to melt and disfigure, and change shape, including self. So that's exactly what I mean. When you come out of the meditation of shunyata, perception, change, according to teachings, it's almost like you just wake up from your dream. So many things, you are chased by elephant, you couldn't run, and you are like shortage of breath. When you awake, it all happened in dream, all this stress, anxiety, everything that happened in dream. When you awake, it's just memory. It really didn't happen exactly the way you perceive. It did happen, but it didn't happen exactly the way you perceive or experience. And then when you wake up, and then you realize the dream. Same thing when you come out of the meditation of shunyata, when you look around, everything going to be like that. Like, oh, this is so serious. No, it's not serious. So you just you don't judge, because you just, as I said, you see, not really worry about the details, you just see as it appears. There's nothing to judge, there's nothing to comment, it just appears as they are. It's not superimposed, exaggerated. It's just like child looking at things. They are not worried about the details, they just look at as they are. They are not really, they are not making comment, they are not judging. Just look, they just. So, yeah, almost like illusions. So then like see, if you see like now the second part, Chukula, second part, third part, and the fourth part, please you say there's some time left. Yeah, not time. So maybe can you say that again one more time in English? So then person, whoever asked this probably has some interest to understand about Shunyata. That's very good. The first one is identifying Gajang Munju, or Tibetan words called Gajang Munju, means identifying the object. Second one is called Chabang Nebene, is talking about some kind of privations.
Yeah, Geshe-la, the second point is understanding the pervasion or like determining the choices.
If you can explain like based on your ability to people to understand like, the language, sometimes when it gets to this kind of get scholarly language, I'm not sure sometimes people don't understand what they're saying. Can you make it more like yeah?
Yeah, so my understanding, Geshe-la, is that it's like trying to understand all the possible ways that something can exist. And so they call that, determining the choices or the options or the pervasion.
Yeah, here's what is happening. If you think the self is in the physical body, okay, so then Chugila will explain.
Yeah, so when we talk about the body, well, the body and mind, we say there are 5 aggregates, right? There's the 1 of body and the 4 of mind. And so when we see the ways that something can exist, they either have to exist identical with or one with those aggregates, or they need to be completely separate from them.
So this is the second point analysis. So then the third.
So that's like understanding it not being one or analyzing oneness.
Yeah, self is not one with the body. So now there's a lot of counter argument, So then that kind of your assertions, or you think, oh, I'm with my body, I'm one with my body. So then people kind of continue to debate. So then you eventually you have to let your assertion to go. You can't just hold on that, even though logically it doesn't make sense. That's the third one. So then you realize, you say, oh, it's not one with my body. There's all kinds of like counter arguments. So then fourth one.
And the fourth one is analyzing the difference or, understanding that it's not separate, that the self is not separate from the parts.
Yeah, it's just separate from your 5 aggregates. So then there's many, like, first of all, you can't say I'm sick. My head hurt, that you are all these many things you can say because you are separate. Okay, so these are the 4-point analysis. If it doesn't make sense, so maybe next Sunday in the beginning of the class, we'll spend more time there. Okay, it's not like shorter period of time. It's not going to. So, but so thank you very much for all of your questions. Now time is running out, and especially thanks to Linda, Lamula, Venerable Lamula always lead the prayers, and all our Venerable nuns always here. Believe or not, you're seeing them to create positive merit. You're seeing them. So then the Dhamasi, each and every one of you. So now time is run out. So they will see next Sunday. Okay, next Sunday.
Let's read the dedication verses from Master Shantideva. May all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of our merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled, with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth. Those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may these never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Now the long life prayers, first for His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good, all-powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso. Please remain until samsara ends. The long life prayer for Lama Zopa Rinpoche. I'm sorry, for Sarah J. Kinsen Rinpoche, Wilson Dalek. The one who mastered his speech at a very young age. The one with great patience, received the name Awatari. The one with great precision, who spread the teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa on bliss and void. Lama, ornament of the yellow hat tradition. Please remain until samsara ends. Now the long life prayer for Lama Zopa Rinpoche. You who uphold the subduers more away, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjanas, victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplish magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please live long. And 7 Dharma mantras for Geshe Gelik and Geshe Sangpo's long, happy, healthy lives. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. 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 Om Tare Tu Re Soha.
Well, again, thank you very much. And children, Alexander, thank you very much for translating people back in Patagonia. And all of you have a wonderful Sunday. And anybody, people at the center, have a wonderful Sunday. And people on YouTube, have a wonderful Sunday. See you next Sunday. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you,
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you.